Marylanders that is, are concerned about the state's economy. But they also approve of the job being done by Governor Wes Moore. Joining us now is Mileah Kromer, director of UMBC Institute of Politics, which released the first of its three-part survey today. Mileah, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about it. What stood out the most from these findings?
I think the top line result is always really interesting to folks. 52% of Marylanders approve of the job that Wes Moore is doing as governor. 40% disapprove. He enjoys strong support among his Democratic base. But when it comes to Republicans, he has really low approval ratings, I think reflecting the hyper-polarized nature of our politics today. And one area of concern certainly for him would be those among independents and unaffiliated voters who make up about anywhere between 18 to 20% of the state's electorate. He has lost some ground among those voters.
Let's talk kind of in general terms. What is a good approval rating? Because, those going by, school standards, those are failing.
No, but they are not failing when it comes to how Marylanders or how anybody sort of views their elected officials. I would say as a good rule of thumb, anytime that you were sort of above water, when your approval rating is higher than your disapproval rating, you're in a good, I think, a good spot. Right now, Governor Wes Moore is plus 12. Now, this is a decline from where we had him back in September, where he was plus 22 with the electorate.
So Governor Moore's approval numbers are still in the positive, which is good, above water, as you said. But his numbers did slip from a poll you took in November, especially among independents. Can you talk about how that differs the November to now?
Sure, there was certainly a decline, and it really wasn't felt among the approval rating. So his approval rating back in September, or late September, our first poll at UMBC, had him at 54%. And that sort of a decline from 54 to 52 is within the margin of error. So I wouldn't say that's really a noticeable shift. Where you do see an increase is the percentage of folks who say that they disapprove of the way the governor is doing his job. That is a slight uptick. I think that it's not just about the gubernatorial approval ratings, however. I think some other key indicators on our poll is, the way Marylanders view the economic situation in the state. This is, I think, a tough number for Marylanders. 67% of individuals say that they have a poor or fair sort of assessment of the state's economic conditions, and they're really heavily divided on whether the state is on the right track or going on the wrong direction.
On the list of high priority issues, household energy bills was fourth. Now, we've done several stories in the past few weeks here at WJLA 24/7 News. People saying their electric bills are much more expensive than they have been. What are people telling you on this issue?
So we asked Marylanders about a series of different issues in which they would like, and we asked them what they would like to see the state government prioritize. And what we find is reducing crime, improving public safety is the number one thing they'd like to see folks prioritize. 77% say that. On down the line is the quality of K through 12 education, the cost of healthcare, and then exactly what you mentioned, the cost of household energy bills. That is a big issue for Marylanders, and they want to see that the state government address that issue. It's a high priority issue for them.
Do you think if those issues don't get addressed, that there could be a shift in the power in Maryland?
If you mean I'm not sure exactly what you mean by the power, about the partisan power dynamic in the state. That is, it will take a lot to shift that power dynamic, if that's what you're referring to. Keeping in mind, Maryland has a 2-to-1 Democratic to Republican ratio. About 55% of the state's voters are Democrats. And currently, Democrats, I think, certainly more than their Republican counterparts, are more satisfied with the direction of the state, and they're also more satisfied with their governor.
Were there any surprises from what Marylanders were telling you?
Well, I've been doing this for way too long. I've been measuring political attitudes in Maryland for over a decade, so not many things surprise me anymore. But I will say that I think an interesting finding on the poll is, we asked Marylanders the impact they think the reduction of federal workforce will have on the state. And 61% of Marylanders say that it's going to have a negative impact on the state, compared to 24% who thinks the reduction of the federal workforce will have an ultimately positive impact on the state. And we know that Maryland is home to a large percentage of the federal workforce, and we also have a lot of different organizations and institutes here in Maryland that are supported by federal dollars. And so it's no wonder that such a large percentage of Marylanders say that they expect there to be a negative impact from the decrease in federal workforce.
Mileah Kromer, we appreciate your decades of work in this, and the next time you have a survey, we'll bring you back on.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me.
Of course.